A very good afternoon, everyone. I'm delighted to welcome you to Global Aviation and Space Disputes Conference. Air and space sectors play a critical role in the global economy and continue to grow and evolve. Both sectors contribute more than $1,000 billion in revenue per year to global economy. We have increased use of unmanned aerial systems, satellite-based services, exploration and commercialization of space, climate change, cybersecurity, data protection concerns, and all of them have induced a need to look into and reassess international and national legal frameworks governing air and space sectors. While litigation is a common tool to address these issues, arbitration in the aviation and space industries is often preferred over traditional court litigation due to its speed, cost effectiveness, and flexibility. It allows parties to choose an arbitrator with specific expertise in these two sectors, and the process is confidential, which can be important for such sensitive commercial or technical information. We have at the international level, Chicago Convention. We have Convention on International Liability for Damages Caused by Space Objects, and both these conventions provide possibility of arbitration in aviation and space disputes. Very recently, Hague Court of Arbitration in Aviation was set up. We have the mechanism of ICSID, ICC, and other reputed international institutes which offer arbitration in these sectors. To speak on nuances of both these sectors and arbitration and other dispute resolution mechanism in these sectors, today we have more than a dozen of industry experts from countries such as Australia, US, Mexico, Dr. Liu Ping from China, UK, Geneva, and India. In this long day program, more than 350 participants have registered from more than 15 nationalities. So I hope it really reaches that global audience. I hope deliberations carried over the entire day will help us in our professional and research endeavor. With this short introduction about the conference, now I welcome our Honorable Registrar, Professor Dr. Anil G. Verma, to deliver the welcome address. Sir, over to you.
Thank you very much, Professor Chirag. The respected Chief Guest of the day, His Lordship, Honorable Justice S. Ravindra Bhatt, Dr. Subramaniam, Dr. Vinod Kumar, Sri Chinmay Roy, Dr. Luping, our head of the department and the director of the Center for Research in Training and Corporate Regulations, Dr. Kiran Roy, and the coordinator of the Center for Arbitration Research, and also the organizer of today's program, Sri Chirag Balian, all other resource persons and participants who have assembled here on this online platform. I extend a warm welcome to you all to the Maharashtra National Law University, Mumbai, on behalf of its staff, students, and faculty. Also on behalf of our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Dilip Uke, who could not attend this program as he's traveling out on certain other official assignments. Maharashtra National University, Mumbai is just 6.5 years old, but still within this short, it may not be a big span of life as far as the university is concerned, but within this short span of life, it has marked its presence in the legal academy in India because of the commitment and dedication the members of the faculty and staff has shown. And we have established number of research centers, almost 15 research centers and centers for excellence in legal education have been established in the university. And these two centers which have collaborated today for this program, I must congratulate both the centers for selecting a theme which is relevant, very much relevant today for this, this deliberation. Due to the increase in the commercialization and rapid advances in air and space activities, aviation and space disputes are also on the rise. There are claims related to territorial claims are there, allocation of air traffic rights, then commercial competition, intellectual property disputes, environmental related disputes are there, which needs a fresh and different outlook compared to the traditional approach of dispute resolution. See, certain disputes can no doubt be resolved through litigation, but litigation is not always an effective and advisable method of dispute resolution, especially when it comes to air and space disputes. And most of the disputes which are international in nature are referred to international arbitrations. And Maharashtra National University Center for Research in Arbitration has organized different conferences, both national and international, in different specific areas of dispute resolution through arbitration. And this one is the latest one, and it is an upcoming area because in India, the air and space law is yet evolving, but disputes are already there. So I must salute the wisdom in selecting this theme, So what I do not want to go further on this subject because it is not my area of knowledge. And also I'm sure that the participants are eager to hear the experts. So I once again take this opportunity to welcome all the resource persons and participants to this conference. And also I wish the conference all success. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Dr. Anil Variath, Registrar Sir, for always encouraging us, for those words of encouragement. And thank you for always being there so that we can follow up on you and you are there for everything. So with this, we move to the next leg of this inaugural session. And I take this chance to introduce our next guest, Dr. Vinod Kumar. Dr. Vinod Kumar, an alumnus of IIT Bombay, is presently Director in Promotion Directorate at Indian National Space Promotion and Authorization Center, Department of Space. INSPEC is an autonomous body, a single window nodal agency with its own cadre to permit, regulate, promote, handhold, monitor, and supervise space activities of non-governmental private entities in India. Sir is also working as Executive Secretary in Astronomical Society of India. This society is playing an active role to promote space technology nationally and internationally through conferences, lectures, and webinars. Before joining INSPEC, he was heading the Geo Control Dynamics Design Division and working as Deputy Project Director, Attitude and Orbit Control System at UR Rao Satellite Center, Bengaluru. Sir has developed crucial technologies for satellites and a critical mirror motion compensation technique for ISRO's meteorological satellite series. He has also developed autonomy for geo satellites, which has become the backbone of ISRO's fleet of spacecraft, including Mars Orbiter mission. He has been awarded ISRO Team Excellence Award in 2006 by His Excellency, former President of India, Dr. APJ Abul Kalam, for in-orbit management of spacecraft operations. He was again chosen for the Team Excellence Award in 2011 for GSAT-12 spacecraft AOCS design, development, and realization. Apart from space and technology, sir works towards economic empowerment, animal welfare, and has interest in art and culture. May I request you, sir, to please deliver the keynote address.
Thank you, Kiran Madam, for detailed introduction. I really first thank organizers to give me opportunity to express my views to the distinguished gathering here. Respected Honorable Justice Bhatsa, Vice Chancellor and Registrar of the Maharashtra National Law University, my colleague, Dr. Subramaniam, and friends, ladies and gentlemen. It's really a pleasure to interact with you on this nice topic, which newly formed Indian National Space Promotion and Authorization Center has taken some activities, and really I will be going through these topics, which is the presentation outline goes like this. I'll just touch upon how India started its space journey in some 2-3 slides. Then space sector reforms, why it is required. What are the benefits? Why so many players are coming now? Blue, green, digital economy, and what are the strategic goals of United Nations, which are for equality of mankind? Then I will touch upon what is happening in the space economy. There are some figures, some are already happened, some are going. Then I feel international space law I will touch upon during the given time, and I think I have been given 9 minutes, right, madam?
Yes, yes, sir.
I will try to finish it, but try to bear with you if 1 or 2 minutes extra there. I'll just touch upon them and need for the national spouse law. My views on that, that's a personal views. So moving ahead, 1963, what we are and what we today. We from a humble beginning, and now we can launch up to 6,000 kg satellites in the orbit, which was done last year for OneWeb constellation. This shows the volume, how we have progressed over the year. A tremendous job is done by ISRO. We started with 360 kg, 40-watt satellite. Today, this GSAT-11, I'm really fortunate to have designed and worked with this massive satellite with 14,000 kg watt power now. Sorry, 13,600 watt, 40 watt to 14,000 watt. This is the kind of massive development. It delivers the spot beam. When I talk to the people, those who are users of this, they really feel proud of India's space journey. This is another thing. We are known for developing frugal technologies, and that has been the real feature, or we can say the value of the ISRO and the way we work, and now the state-of-art facilities we have. For now, when all these things has happened, we have a huge infrastructure for launching the satellite. Various centers are there, propulsion system, making the launch vehicle. Midstream, you can see the control facilities, master control facilities, and other things. Downstream application, tremendous work has been done over the years, but it has to be scaled up now. We are here, so it gives us the chance to perform the Indian space sector reforms came in. That's the really need of the hour, that since the applications are very high, so under the visionary leadership of Prime Minister of India, these space sector reforms are carried out. Now I will just touch upon that. What are the space phases? Now we call it, we are at a space 4. Why we call it? The first space phase was the study about of astronomy. You all know the contribution of Aryabhata or Bhaskara. These are the kind of astronomy studies were going all over the world, but India was pioneer in those days. In 500 BC, you must have seen the books written by very awesome books, including the Bhaskara in 1200 AD. Is a very good book. They have done a lot of contribution to the space. Then space 2 started with a race to space. So it resulted into Apollo moon landing. This is the kind of thing which shows us that, yes, if you work for it, it will happen. Then space 3 came, where global cooperation and space applications came in, and it resulted into International Space Station. Now there is a shift of paradigms wherein many actors came in. The private companies started permitting worldwide, industry, academia, citizen, all started working. So we are at space 4. and US started it early. So what I mean to say is here is that the new space agency should do what all things. They define and communicate clear vision and strategy. I will tell you that we have started in space after formation has already started this. Establish a conductive and strategic regulatory framework. This has been done by forming the space. Foster private sector growth and attract foreign business. We are working on this, and we are coming up with a futuristic plan for this sector as for foreign player business as well. Be the national space sector's international phase, drive strategic space activities, enable the national space sector. So these are the certain things which we have already started, but I am coming to the main point. This space sector reform was carried out by formation of Indian National Space Promotion and Authorization Center on 24th June 2020. What are the function? It enables private entities to carry out end-to-end activities. Before formation of any space, only government was doing end-to-end activities. Only private players were the vendors. There are 400, 500 vendors for space activities, but they cannot do the end-to-end activities. So InSpace has started authorizing, and I am very proud to tell you that around 155 plus companies have started working in a short span of 2 years. We address promotion, authorize, enable, supervise, and trying to act as a single window agency. We are assisted by InSpace board consisting the members from DOS, industry, academia, various places. Prior to this, New Space India Limited, NSIL, was formed as a commercial wing to market the ISRO products and technology. So our InSpace vertical in the, as I have told that we are Samvartak, Samarthak, Pradhikratak, Evam Paryavekshak. Our orbit is this, and we are working on this. We started working last year, June 2022. Honorable Prime Minister of India's wording says that InSpace is for space, space, and ace. So we are trying to follow the footsteps so that we stand to his aspirations of the new space. So I just touch upon where we stand in the framework of organization. Where is Chairman ISRO is the Secretary Department of Space, and he's the Chairman of the Space Commission. He's like a driver where he's the chairman of Space Commission, where he formulates the policy, and in the Department of Space, where he's the Secretary Department of Space, where he regulates the activities, and Chairman ISRO, where he implements the thing. So if you see the InSpace rightmost, his bodies form reporting through Space Commission to Prime Minister Office. ISRO has various centers as listed here. So InSpace has the chairman, Dr. Pawan Goenka is current chairman, and he is assisted by InSpace board. We take advice from Space Commission, and under Department of Space, this center is formed. We have 3 directorate and 1 legal, finance, and administration wing. So in 3 directorates, promotion directorate is at Bangalore, is headed by me. It's a new vertical totally in space which has come up. Program management, authorization director, and technical directorate, and legal, finance, and administration wing are stationed at our headquarters, Ahmedabad. This is the brief view at each vertical, what all we do. Promotion, a novel idea to prepare vision and strategy for Indian space sector. On decadal vision and strategy, we have started working. We carry out industry outreach. We reach out to them, take feedback from them, and work out the strategy and policy. International outreach and engagement with academia. Within a short span of joining the InSpace last year in April, we have designed a course for IITs and academia, all universities, which will be starting shortly. It is already started at IIT Madras and IIT Bombay. It is a space technology minor. I will touch upon, last slide is on this. Then we act as an enabler to nurture and support startups, enable them, to facilitate them. Then we authorize them to carry out any activity and trying to act as a single window agency. They need not go anywhere. For this, we have developed a unique platform a digital application, and we process application digitally, including we will implement the MOU signing as well. Then we supervise them also, because there's not enough expertise. We have the expert database for them. So these are the things we have done. And as you know that some verticals with InSpace has, they are supported by ISRO, championed by InSpace. They are like launch vehicle. We have PSLV, GSLV Mark III, the Mako I have shown you in the starting, then SSLV. The small satellite launch vehicle, this technology will be transferred to the private sector. We have space segment, satellite in communication, navigation, Earth observation, and space science. Then in space application, if you see, we have various verticals wherein people can work. Then space science missions also we have, then promotion equity, as I have told you. So there are the various key applications for space. That's why it is going. Most of you know all this. Starting from communication, using Wi-Fi from space, Earth observation, navigation is very famous. Now we don't ask the people. We take that app like Map My India, Google Maps, space storage, mining, satellite servicing, robotics, e-governance. I will touch upon this. Smart agriculture. We are bringing out schemes for them, and smart agriculture helps the farmers. We are reaching to the farmer with the how much, when you should sow the seed, when you will put pesticides, how much you should do. These are the kind of applications possible from the space. India is a large digital economy where you know all UPI, JAM, smart mobility, not to mention of the kind of transactions which are happening in this sector. Just touch upon to this, that we need to accelerate the penetration of accessibility and affordability of broadband to empower the citizens. We are a 140 crore people. We need to work on this. You see, if direct satellite connectivity, you see direct consumers are nil in India. US has 2.1 million with 33 crore population. EU has 1 million with 45 crore. You see, ours is nil. Only enterprise-wise, you see 0.29 million customers just. We need this. We need to scale up our production activities towards this. So other application which you see, the blue economy, to achieve inclusive and improve the lives of all. It's a very unique, finding potential fishing zones where this technology can send the fisherman directly to the fish catch. See, this is the place you will get the fish. This is the way space technology play a key role to change the lives of people. They save on fuel. They save on many things. The searching may be a huge catch for them. So it improves their life. Not only this, in case of any distress, he has to just press a button. The latitude, longitude, his location will be sent to the team who will rescue him on time. So these are some applications for minimum government and maximum governance government has done, including electric crop insurance, intensification, soil health card, finding tax evaders. That's also thing space technology is used, clean India, watershed. There are the huge number of applications, maybe different time we can discuss. You see, in digital transaction, in the background, you see how much space technology is used, that India recorded 20 billion online transactions worth rupees 36 trillion in Q2 of 2022. So I can mention many applications where space technology is used. Continuing with the further use, with the United Nations has set 17 goals for the equality of mankind. There are 169 targets, 232 indicators. Of course, they are reviewing it, but progress is not that as expected, is not that good. So therefore, poverty elimination, zero hunger, good health and well-being, gender equality, clean water and sanitation, peace, justice, and strong institution, life below water. There are the many these verticals under biosphere, society, and economy. They are there to the sustainable development goals are the blueprint to achieve a better and more sustainable future for all. So continuing it, I may be hurrying up after the space sector reform, which we have seen and we have some predictions from some sources. So we are just coming to that. One more thing, after our formation, and we started the application from the non-government entities, we received around 202 proposals. This is old data. Now it is around 220 plus. So these are the verticals. In satellite, 75 companies are asking these many proposals, 75 proposal, launch vehicle. So see, the space sector ecosystem has started its journey. You see, startups, we have in 2016, we have just 7 startups. Now you see, after space sector reform in 2020, where we had 21, suddenly 47. Now we have 101, but this was 2021 figure. Now it's 155 starter. Now you see the FDI, foreign direct investment. Earlier, where I don't see there was much except the launching of the satellite. Now you see that we have received in 2022 around $111 million in an economy of very large sized economy, which is the world economy is there. In that we have a share of around 2%, if you go by the figure. But this is the kind of FDI which we have started. The graph is going up. Now you see the company wise, as I have told earlier, it is 150 plus now. Now you see global space economy in 2022 was $447 billion. 2035 it may be around 800. And 47 in Amratkal, they say it may be around $1.5 trillion economy. India, we are just 2% at now. Can we make it from $9 billion of that to can we make it $675 billion? So using space data product and other activities, yes, we can do this and we will try this. So now showing this, that what is the effect of space sector reforms which are carried out under the visionary leadership of the country. How we have been working as international, because it's a legal fraternity. I just want to touch upon what are the treaties and outer space activities and why these regulations are required. You see that this top figure is the GeoBelt, where geosynchronous satellites are placed. We use them for communication, whether for broadcast, and including our navigation. There we have satellite. You see, it is a kind of tube. It is a belt at 36,000 kilometers, where we place our satellite, and they rotate with the Earth at the same speed as the Earth rotates. So this is the kind of crowd there. It is also an old slide, but you see the right side bottom. What is happening to the space today? So there are more than 165,000 objects above 10 centimeters. There are various categories. They all are documented by NASA. We have also started our one center for evaluating, for observing the space object. Now you see another reason is using the technology to destroy the satellite in orbit. So what kind of fragmentation, what kind of objects it creates? It got hanged. I will just log out probably. It's a problem. I think my screen went off. I'm sharing again. Can you see my screen now? Hello?
Yes, we can see.
Oh, it got probably I moved further, maybe that is the cause. So basic purpose of that slide was that it creates, I will not go on this, it creates lot of debris. So that was the reason that so you see here, where we were in 1957, the earth is clean. Artistic view, 93, and where are we? and it is growing day by day. So there is a need to have national laws, international laws basically, and as well we should have national laws also, as some countries has already made. So first satellite was launched on 4 October 1957. 58, there was a first discussion in UN General Assembly. The question of peaceful use of outer space, and UN established a permanent body, UN Corpus, Committee for Peaceful Use of Outer Space. In 1959, we have 24 members. Now we have more than 102 members in 2022. This reports to 4th Committee of the United Nations General Assembly, which has subcommittees like further scientific and technical subcommittee, legal, and working group on long-term sustainability. 67, Outer Space Treaty was there. 68, Rescue Agreement was signed, where the agreement on the rescue of astronaut, the return of astronaut and return of objects launched into outer space. If they go to or fall in some other country, it is his duty to safeguard the astronaut and provide the information. Liability Convention was signed in 1972. 1975, Registration of Space Object Convention was signed and agreed upon. 79, United Nations Office of Outer Space made the Moon Agreement. So that agreement was governing activities of states on Moon and other celestial bodies. There's a conference on disarmament, which keep meeting at various intervals, though they have discussed prevention of arms race in outer space. Ad hoc committee was formed in 1985 to 94. There's a treaty on prevention of placement of weapons in outer space. European Union drafted International Code of Conduct. So Hague Convention requires information on launches and registration. Then there are the various things. In 2020, there was a convention that is reducing space threats through norms, rules, regulation, and principle. They established the open-ended working group for 2 years duration to discuss the current threats and come out with recommendations. Then Artemis Accords is also under proposal, and 23 states are party to it now. This Artemis states governs the moon, the settlement on moon and other celestial bodies. So UN Corpus works on these topics: space and climate change, space and sustainable development, disaster management. These are the areas: space weather. The other thing is space traffic management, global health, near Earth objects. These all things they discuss and come out at a consensus. So now what is happening? There is a rush for space now. One company, SpaceX, is launching thousands of satellites. He has filed for around 20,000 space objects, already launching around 4,500 space objects for internet from the low Earth orbit. Like this, there is a rush. But what is happening? What is happening in the process? There will be a conflicts. I will touch upon some of the conflicts in the coming slides. Another, there is a interagency debris guidelines. They are discussed there. What are the threats from space object? Security from adverse impact. What are the things? They discuss this, all these things and come out with recommendations. There's a long need for long-term sustainability of the outer space. They all are discussed in various forums internationally. Now, I will just touch upon quickly the need for national space law. You can see what kind of debris are there if you see close look. Now you see that there are presently 5,000 satellites today, but it's rise to 50,000 maybe in next 10 years. We have per year launch 70, around 70, but it's increasing. Their ITU filing to take the permission from the International Telecommunication Union. We have seen for a decade, there are 10 lakh LEO satellites will come up in next. What is the impact? Even astronomers who uses the telescope to view the dark sky will not be able to see the place they want to direct themselves. There will be orbit hoarding, which has started. People are putting there. This kind of putting the one satellite and occupying the slot for 10 years, 15 years. There is a increasing collision risk created by large number of satellites like this. So what is happening? This will create a lot of disputes, maybe in coming years. Presently, we are able to decide on safe launch of Wildo. But what will happen in the future if this number grows? There's a term called Kessler syndrome. It's a scenario in which Earth's orbit is overpopulated with objects and debris, preventing the use of satellite in certain section of the Earth's orbit. We have around 750 kilometers where some collision happened. So that orbit we cannot use. It means we are using the resources for our upcoming generations. That should not be permitted. We should make our guidelines. We should work to use the resources with a responsibility. So now we say that internationally responsibilities are changing. Now we need laws. We need our policy to be in place before this becomes a problem that we are not able to use and some other country. Yes, we are a nation which follows all the international guidelines, treaties. We are the only nation with other like-minded nations, but there are some nations which don't follow United Nations conventions and treaties. So there should come out the national laws in alignment with the international law. So there's a need to include curriculum in the school and colleges. Rather, I will say at least it should start at undergraduate level. So for this, we have introduced the course. This semester it has started IIT Bombay and IIT Madras. So it's a technical, but one of the topic we have optional subject we have kept is space economics, policy and space act and its benefits. This is optional, but I have been told that IIT Madras 60 was the class requirement, 75 students registered for the course. Then they stopped it because large classes generally are not taken by IITs. So I'll tell you, there's a lot of hope and scope for this. Concluding remark I have discussed with you. Thank you very much. And I have taken some more time. Thank you sorry for this. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you so much, sir, for your insightful remarks. What we observed is increased commercialization, and when we increase commercialization, obviously more disputes of contractual nature, of intellectual property nature, climate and environment protection, and whatnot. Thank you so much for sharing your expertise. Now I take opportunity to invite Dr. Subramanian, who is Joint Secretary at Department of Space. I'll be brief in the introduction in the interest of time. Sir joined as a Principal Commissioner as an officer of 1991 batch of IRS. He was awarded a gold medal in public administration, sociology, and behavioral science, and for best turnout. He has worked as in the Directorate of Revenue Intelligence, Hyderabad, Chennai, and Bangalore. He has worked as Deputy Secretary, Director Drawback in the Department of Revenue, Ministry of Finance. He was also posted as the Consulate General of India, New York. He was posted as the Commissioner of Customs and GST in Bangalore. Being a person from the Revenue Department and having experience in multiple ministries, he got a deputation as the Controller Human Space Flight Center, ISRO, and presently he is working as Joint Secretary, Department of Space. Sir, it's a privilege to have you. I pass on to you to have your remarks. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Chirag, for such a generous introduction. Honorable Justice Sri S.R. Bhatt, Supreme Court Judge, my colleague Dr. Vinod Kumar in Space, and Mr. Anil V. Variant, Registrar Dr. Kiran Rai, Mr. Sriram Paulian, Chinmay Rai, Dr. Luping Jan, faculty and students of MNLU, the distinguished panelists and participants of this online conference. I know I have one more job of trying to cut short my speech because we have to keep up the time. But I must tell you, it's my privilege, pleasure to be among you for this very important conference. As my colleague has touched upon, the global space economy is about $440 billion, out of which India accounts just for 2%. So unlike other countries, Indian space program has its origins, which are aimed at socio-economic development of the country. And I must tell you, like about the several distinctions what Indian Space Research Organization had so far, but the country is just one of the major spacefaring nation. When you say major spacefaring nation, it says capable of independently building and launching satellites on its own and launching into space. To increase India's, just to give a brief about the recent space reforms, which was already touched upon by the previous speaker, to increase the India share, which is just 2%, and to increase and enhance it further in global space economy, the government has announced the space reforms, mainly aimed at increasing the private sector participation in space activities. Such participation is in turn expected to enhance the technological advancements and expansion of industrial base, enhancement of socio-economic utility of the space assets, like your satellites and other things for the overall development of the country. So coming to the legal aspects, as a legal liberalist, we all know, like, space economy, the space is predominantly an international treaty-driven sphere, but however, none of this treaty has any binding effect when it comes to dispute settlement. Further, these treaties were drafted at various stages of space exploration and came into vogue in an era when there were no commercial activities at all. So we need to distinguish that scenario with the current scenario, which is dominated by a lot of private players in the space sector. So the existing international space law contains only a very fragmented, outdated system for the resolution of disputes relating to space activities. Further, many countries are enacting the several domestic laws with different interpretation of the international conventions, and which further adds to complication in the resolution of disputes in the days to come. So far, if you see the experience, we have only 38 major disputes reported within this area. And if you look at it, almost all of them were resolved only through arbitration. So disputes which were taken up to be resolved by virtue of liability conventions were also could not be resolved by virtue by availing these conventions. So for example, like, so far, if you look at it, the dispute relating to a crash of Cosmos 954 in 1978 between then USSR and Canada, which could be resolved only through diplomatic channels. Similarly, the dispute relating to crashing of Skylab in Australia in 1979, the US was only issued with a fine for littering. And recently, in the sense in 2009, the Iridium or Cosmos satellite collision, which they find, like, it was very consciously held. You can't use the liability convention because it's almost practically and technically impossible to prove fault about what was the cause of this collision. So this is how these alternative systems of dispute resolution has evolved because of the constraints in the international national enactments so far in this domain. But now looking back, like, current contemporary global scenario, so it's the globalization. So all over the economies of the various countries are integrating, and the world is becoming a global village. So these countries are competing themselves for for being treated as the most favored nation in the world. So in the process, what is happening? There are disputes emerging in as per the bilateral investment promotion and protection agreements, and further there's a consequent disputes between the states and investors. So this is another area. So in this context, I feel it's relevant if we refer to some of the international organizations which are involved in the space-related disputes. For example, like International Maritime Satellite Organization, INSMAT, or European Space Agency, ESA, and European Telecommunication Organization, EUTELSAT, and the International Telecommunication Union, ITU, they all provide for compulsory or optional arbitration as means of settling disputes either among the members or with the third parties. So you can see like rather than the regular judicial procedure, how the alternate system of arbitration has gained so much of preeminence in the international space scenario. So now the complications further with the participation of private players in hitherto state-dominated space sector and expansion of the spacefaring nations in the world, the disputes among the states as well as among the states and private players are skyrocketing. And the challenges are further aggravated due to continued emergence of new technologies which have been reducing the cost of access to outer space. So the importance of effective and efficient dispute resolution mechanism for resolving space-related disputes, one need not overemphasize. And it is very much essential in the interest of sustaining the utility of outer space for future generations and also in the interest of entire humankind. So as we know, like the specialized sectors like this need specialized regulations and specialized dispute resolution mechanisms. For example, if there is an in-orbit collision, there are so many gray areas to identify what, how to fix the fault, how do we ensure, how do you address the challenges which are being faced. So for that, we can just take a small reference to centuries-old maritime legal system and other contractual dispute resolution systems, which definitely should provide inspiration for us in going ahead with the space-related legislation and dispute resolutions in particular. So in this, I feel it's very pertinent to refer in 2021, the Dubai International Financial Center established the Court of Space in collaboration with Dubai Future Foundation as a part of the Courts for the Future initiative. So you can grasp the importance this sector is getting by virtue of so much of complications, so many players who are coming into play. So the challenges are continuing in the form of ever increasing number of satellites, space storage, space stations, various space objects with continued emergence of new technologies, increased space service level, emergence of many satellite constellations, so on and so forth, which are expected to witness in-orbit collisions and other risks. In order to address such future occurrences effectively, it is imminent that the academic engagement like this will provide the required impotence in this direction. So without an iota of hesitation, I can say that there is an initiative, there is an intricate connection between effective dispute resolution mechanism and the growth in space sector. So academic endeavors like this go a long way in highlighting the importance of dispute resolution and spur development of law, besides paving direction for regulation of this very niche area. With this, I conclude. Personally, I wholeheartedly compliment MNLU for this excellent initiative, and thank you for having me. Jai Hind.
Thank you, Dr. Subramaniam. And we are grateful to you for bringing in few major issues and telling us about liability conventions and specifically pointing various transnational disputes with example and evolution of alternate dispute resolution, and more importantly, the introduction of compulsory arbitration in international scenario. Thank you, sir, for that insightful lecture. I take my pleasure to introduce our chief guest of the day, Honorable Justice S.R. Bhatt, Judge Supreme Court of India. Your Lordship had been former Chief Justice of Rajasthan High Court and also former Justice of Delhi High Court. Throughout his career, he heard a wide range of cases which included commercial disputes, intellectual property cases, and human rights cases. He is known for his expertise in intellectual property law and has made significant contributions to the development of Indian IP law. He has also been a strong advocate of free speech and has been involved in several high-profile cases related to freedom of expression and media. Justice Bhatt has also been involved in several initiatives aimed at promoting judicial education and improving the administration of justice in India. He has been a speaker at numerous national and international conferences and seminars and has published several articles on legal and social issues. The underlying theme of today's international conference is dispute, which needs balancing act by the adjudicator in cases of conflicts of law. Justice Bhatt beautifully balanced the right to information and right to privacy in under Right to Information Act in his one of the celebrated judgment of CPIO Supreme Court of India versus SC Agrawal and others, where the CPIO he said, the CPIO shall release the information sought by the respondent applicant about the declaration of assets, but not giving the content of the declarations made by the judges of the Supreme Court. So with this, I invite your lordship to and request him to enlighten us with his word of wisdom. Over to you, your lordship.
Thank you, Dr. Vinod Kumar, Director, Promotion, Indian National Space Promotion and Authorization Center. Dr. Subramaniam, Joint Secretary, Department of Space, Government of India. Professor Dr. Anil G. Variath, Registrar, MNLU. Dr. Kiran Rai, Associate Professor and HODA, Center for Training and Research in Commercial Regulations, MNLU. Mr. Chirag Balian, Assistant Professor and Head of Center for Arbitration and Research, MNLU, Mumbai. All members of the audience, a very good afternoon. First of all, I would like to extend my thanks and regards to Dr. Balian and his center for organizing this conference. I'm privileged to be amidst distinguished and highly knowledgeable experts in both the aviation as well as the space disputes panel. The theme of this conference is timely and relevant given the massive strides the scientific community has made in these last 50 years, which have in turn thrown open numerous legal and technical issues in the sector. My lack of expertise in the subject of space, happily confines my remarks to a general survey of the issues, and I will share my thoughts on two sub-themes: relevance of norms and their application, and secondly, challenges in the application of those norms. The subject of aviation and space disputes, especially space disputes, appears to be fascinating. One recalls the collision of a US and a Russian satellite, Cosmos 2251 and Iridium 33, which I think Dr. Vinod Kumar alluded to back in 2009, the debris of which can still be found in open space. Likewise, Russia destroyed one of its own satellites in November 2021, which has created a massive debris clouds that threatens many space assets. Though no formal dispute resolution proceeding arose due to the 2009 collision, and the dispute was resolved through diplomatic means, one wonders if a formal dispute resolution mechanism would have resulted in compensation for the non-defaulting party under the Liability Convention. This requires methods of dispute resolution enabling parties to approach appropriate forums for claiming damages instead of relying solely on the outcome of diplomatic negotiations, which may not always result in the merits of the case, but instead involve extraneous considerations. Globally, in relation to space-related disputes, the Treaty on Principles Governing the Activities of States in Exploration and Use of Outer Space, including the Moon and other celestial bodies, popularly known as the Outer Space Treaty, is considered the Magna Carta of space law, as it is the most comprehensive and has been ratified by more than 100 member states. The only problem is it's outdated. Considering all celestial objects as province of all mankind to be used in interest and benefit of all countries, the treaty restricts national appropriation by any state, which is Article 2, and permits the use of space in furtherance of international peace and security, and exclusively for peaceful purposes, amongst other provisions. The interesting aspect of this treaty, which I would like to highlight, is that while the treaties in relation to international aviation allow exclusive sovereignty over national airspace to the countries, thus restricting the rights of other members to enter into their airspace. Treaties in relation to space disputes allow freedom of exploration, navigation, and use of outer space on a non-discriminatory basis. As an aside, our achievement in the last 70 odd years, 74 years, has been that as of now, we have 143 Indian satellites. Our own 143 satellites have been launched. And besides that, we have assisted in the satellite launching of 385 other objects for 34 countries. No mean achievement. Now, coming back to the main topic, the lack of these, contemporary norms comes with challenges. Firstly, while Article 4 of the treaty imposes an obligation on the state not to carry any weapon of mass destruction, there is conspicuous absence of usage of conventional forms of weapons, which are equally dangerous and capable of wreaking havoc, and thus, in absence of explicit mention of the latter, achieving the object of the treaty, which is to ensure the peaceful use of space, may not succeed. Further, the Outer Space Treaty endorses the idea that space is free for all signatory sovereign states who must bear international responsibility for their national activities in outer space. Under Article 6, non-governmental entities are required to get authorization and be subjected to continued supervision by the concerned state. But none of these treaties explicitly impose any obligation to protect humans in outer space. Moreover, there is no universal format for the standards which the individual states may impose, which I think both Dr. Subramaniam and Dr. Vinod Kumar have highlighted. Also, Article 9 stipulates that if an activity has potential to harm the other states, then the concerned state shall take appropriate international consultation before proceeding with the activity. Now, what is the mechanism for this? Additionally, though Article 2 specifically prohibits national appropriation by claim of sovereignty over these celestial objects, they remain silent on the aspect of property rights over resources found on such celestial bodies, which could easily become the bone of contention in case two sovereigns claim title over the resources. I believe that apart from diplomatic routes, which were followed in 2000, forms of dispute resolution and rules governing the same can play a prominent role in addressing these lacunae. Although the Permanent Court of Arbitration Outer Space Arbitration Rules 2010 exist, it has been observed that all parties still prefer the generic UNCITRAL arbitration rules and the adjudication of disputes as they cater to every form of arbitration dispute. I think Dr. Vinod Kumar had referred to ICSID, or one of the earlier speakers. Well, for perhaps good reasons, India has stayed out of ICSID, and I hope this doesn't become an occasion for India to enter ICSID. We have already terminated 82 bilateral treaties which contain bilateral investment treaty arbitration. So we should not be walking into another. I'm treading into policy, but I think this is a thought worth keeping in mind. The cost of this, however, is that generic arbitration rules lack the specialization required in space-related disputes, considering their complexity and technicality involved. Sincere efforts to increase awareness of the avenues offered by the PCA outer space arbitration rules should capture the attention of international policy makers. The default mechanism of persuading one state to proceed for damages against another or non-government agencies not only causes delays, but may not be feasible. Further, the defaulting state may even be unwilling to negotiate or represent an offending commercial operator. In such context, the need for a formal dispute resolution mechanism is relevant more than ever, given the increased private participation in the space race. The UN First Committee deals with disarmament, global challenges, and threats to peace. On 1st November 2021, it approved a resolution which creates a working group whose goals are to assess present and future threats to space operations, determine when behavior can be considered irresponsible, and recommend norms, rules, and regulations for future behavior. Importantly, with increasing demands and pressures for commercial use of moon and outer space, the normative vacuum needs to be urgently addressed. There is tremendous amount of research into emerging areas which will require use of outer space. The need for evolving norms is therefore critical. Efforts like SpaceX, Blue Origin, and Virgin Galactic are challenging the limits of private space endeavors. In the end, I would like to quote a former civil servant, Jean Monnet, who said, "Nothing is possible without man, but nothing is lasting without an institution." Thus, simply relying solely upon the text of any treaty may not be enough. We need to create an institutional mechanism for the smooth resolution of issues and disputes. With this, I'd like to thank MNLU Center for Arbitration and Research, the Center for Training and Research in Commercial Regulations for inviting me today, and congratulate them for organizing this event. I'm sure the conference will provide a great platform for engaging discussions and foster scholarly debate amongst academicians, lawyers, experts, policymakers, as well as students who are interested in this exciting area of law. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Lordship, for taking time out to enlighten us. We are indeed grateful that you have brought out few very important, pertinent research topics for us, like the peaceful use of outer space, absence of universal format, and most importantly, absence of a formal format for asking for damages against the nations who are not following the norms. So these had been the universal challenges for the international public law, which we had been resolving through INCITRAL and other platforms. So there is need to resolve and look into the outer space disputes as well. So once again, I would like to thank Your Lordship, the other dignitaries, Dr. Vinod Kumar, Dr. Subramaniam, and the other resource persons who are going to give their insightful thought on this topic throughout the remaining part of the day. So this looks to be a very exciting conference, and we assure the participants that please be with us, because there would be a lot of learning from our next sessions. And thank you for being with us in this inaugural session.